Good morning, everybody. It is me, Teri Hunter, here. It's Sunday morning, Pacific time. It's time for Messages with Your Angels with Teri Hunter here on Lada's channel. Thank you for joining me and coming back. Boy, what a crazy time. Good morning, Shelley. I hope you're well. I'm here in California, and the wildfires are crazy. Hi, CC Pups. Welcome. Hi, 14 Ree. And there's been protesting in my city, political protesting, and crazy events this week. Hi, Kathy. Good morning, Juan. It's just been really wild, and the sky has been this creepy, weird color. Good morning, Marcia, Flamingo, Yuritsi. Yeah, it's just been a very, very crazy week. So before I start on the readings this morning, I wanted to talk about some of the things that are happening this week. Good morning, Yvonne and Jay. I'm not close to them, CC Pups. I'm down by the ocean, but it's amazing to me. There's ash in my home. Literally, I cannot keep up with the dust and the sky. I don't think there's a fire I think the closest one is about 100 miles away. I may be wrong. I have not been watching too much news because it's so disturbing that it starts to put me into a vibration that I don't want to go down. So I've been really concentrating because I'm Mars ruled, you guys. I'm Aries rising, and it can really make the warrior in me go cuckoo crazy. So I've been super quiet, contemplative, and tucking in. I don't know if I say good morning to Jay. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Stephen. It's super scary times right now. And I want to say it this way because super scary times are really when we're most disengaged from our connection to spirit, when we're most in the illusion of the human experience. So I want to encourage you all to find your quiet place. And I'm doing it through art projects. I'm also ruled a bit by Venus. I'm a Leo sun and a Taurus moon. So doing some activities that are creative really help me. So I want to talk about a couple things that are happening this week. Most of the astrologers are going to do videos on the new moon in Virgo. So I'm just going to mention that, it has its own dynamics. But what I want to talk about is we had Jupiter go direct, which is nice. So we're starting the recalibration. We're going to still wait to experience both Pluto and Saturn going direct as well as Uranus. And we can start to work our way through these challenges, meaning the recovery of them, the reconciliation of them, the blessings in disguise. But what I want to talk about this week, we have Mercury squaring Pluto on the 17th as well as the new moon. And so it's a time to be really mindful of pay attention to the details. Because in addition to that, Mars is squaring Saturn, and that's going to be exact it's within 3 degrees of each other until October 9th. So it'll go through these what I feel like these ebbs and these flows of feeling a certain amount of movement and a certain amount of delay, a certain amount of frustration with the delays. And I want you to start to calibrate that in your mind as if the delays are representing Spirit's hand moving things in a way you can't see, and using that time to reflect on what's going on in your life here and now. And, some of us may want to do, a gratitude inventory or a combination of a gratitude inventory, and then really looking at some of the other aspects and see where they've expired. Where's our energies, or even old clothing, old cosmetics, going through and just sort of cutting out what's expired as a metaphor, using the new moon's energy as a metaphor to say that you're ready to usher in the new. Because these dynamics of 2020, I've said it almost every week, they're unprecedented, and I don't want to fight it. And I don't want to allow myself to get caught up in the injustice of what I see, when there could be more justice that's laid before me. I can't help but think about, the Civil War and what that and the American Revolutionary War, two big wars I studied in school, both about liberation and freedom, both about giving us an opportunity to express more of our individuality and to feel more connected within that. So I just want to put that out there. And there's there's crazy abuses happening with children. I mean, there's the trafficking thing is stoking up. It's just so ugly right now. And so much ugliness is being erupted. But I really believe it had to erupt. It had to come to the surface in order to start that reconciliation and healing process. So I think that was it. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention. We also have Uranus squaring Venus on the 15th. And that may bring up a couple of things, because Uranus, as we know, is in Taurus and Venus is in Leo. And Leo represents romance. It represents love. So we've got, Venus, the planet of love, in the sign of love, squaring the planet of unexpected events and explosions. So you add that to Mars, creating annoyance and irritation and impatience, and we could have some arguments in our love life with the people that we love, and not just our intimate partners. The fifth house represents our children as well. So for those of you that are parents, or those of you that are teachers, or those of you that are dealing with younger energies that don't know how to manage all of this, the waves that are coming in and out, our ability to step into the present and to take a breath and to recognize our own irritations will just begin the diffusion process. So, all right. So now that's it for what the angels gave me in our astrological environment this week. And let's go on to our readings. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to start with Aries and work my way backwards as usual. Welcome, Melissa. Welcome, CJD. I said hi to Flamingo. Welcome, Lisa, 5988, and Trevor B. Lewis. Welcome. I wonder if Brett, welcome back. Hi, Tiba, oil painter. I said hi to Yvonne. Eleanor, welcome. What a beautiful name. I love that name, Eleanor. Sammy's mom, Sammy, welcome. Okay, I think I got everybody. I think I missed somebody. Did I miss Jolie? Who was there up there? Helen, I missed Helen. Good morning, Helen. Good morning. I said hi to Jay. Okay. I thought I saw Jolie as well, but maybe that was Juan and me scrolling fast. Okay. I said hi to Yvonne. When I watch the playback, sometimes I get irritated that I miss somebody. Carlin, good morning. Oh, there's Jolie. I did say hi. Okay, hi, Jolie. An eye for an eye. Hello. Well, that's okay. So an eye for an eye. Let's be a little bit like being an olive branch for an olive branch this week, because it's going to test us. Good morning, Roman. Nirvana Flux, welcome back. Okay, I'm going to get on with the reading. Start with Aries, and I go rising, moon, sun, and stelliums, because rising is basically who I am. I'm not a Libra sun. I'm not very indecisive, or I have a lot of Libra traits, but my Aries traits are very strong. So rising or ascendant, moon, because our emotions really are how we take our actions. Everything is emotionally based in the human experience, whether we realize it or not, and emotions are not logical. Then I go to the sun and stelliums, because if you have a group of 4 or more planets in one sign, holy camole, there's a strong influence of that sign on your life path. So pay attention. All right, here we go. Aries. Let's see what the first angel is. The fires. Oh, yes, you're experiencing them as well. Small wildflowers. Oh, I was thinking about you. I'm sending prayers for you guys. The stories in the news. I was telling everybody in the beginning, the ash in my home, and I don't think there's a fire that's within 100 miles of me. So it's pretty crazy. Yeah, prayers, you guys. That would be great. Love Light Energetics. Great to see you. Welcome. All right. I'm not going to interrupt myself. Start with Pisces, and I work my way towards Aries. Our first angel is Archangel Michael. The second is Rochelle. The third is Astera, and Bridget is the final one for Pisces. Oh, are you capturing the background noise? Let me shut the window, guys. I apologize. I meant to do that before I started. Hold on. Sundays by the beach, scuba divers, beachgoers, hungover people getting into their cars and heading home or going to breakfast. It's a very loud place where I live. Okay, back to Pisces. Sorry for the interruption, guys, but thank you for the note. Okay. Archangel Michael is being joined by the forgiveness card. Rochelle is being joined by the love card. Astera is being joined by the dog. And Bridget is being joined by the wind fairy. Okay, Pisces. This is really, to me, this kind of is so important about the aspects that are going on this week because of the square between Mars and Saturn, irritations, frustrations, delays. And I want to say this, there could be irritations and frustrations and delays in regards to your love life. And I also want to say it this way because I think you rule the 12th house. It's a spiritual house. It's a house of ashrams, of temples, of meditation. That's the high vibration of Pisces. So here, Archangel Michael is asking you to have the courage to go into this place of forgiveness, of reconciliation, I talked when we started this broadcast about using the Mars-Saturn square to reflect and take inventory on your life and to start to really think about what's expired and what you have, used or what has taught you what you need to know, reminded you of who you are, and have the courage to make the life changes to now follow your heart fully and completely. Rochelle says, as you honor and follow the guidance of your heart, prosperity is coming to you now. This is much more than money, Pisces. This is harmonious wealth that indicates love and fulfillment and the deeper qualities of why we incarnate here on this planet, why we walk through these scary times, through these challenges, because there's the love card. And I think that it's really not just about the things that you love, but about the characteristics of the human experience that you love. While there is disruption right now, and literally there are protests within a mile of my home, and vibrationally I feel that, I also am so grateful and feel love that these people have the freedom to express themselves. And that's where I'm trying to hold the space. Because in the angel's advice for Pisces, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums, I have Astera saying to reach for the stars with your dreams and your desires. And the love card here, the unconditional love card, also represents integrity. And I think that integrity is the courage to see that everybody has their own journey in some way. And the journey is to love, but love is not just an emotion. It is an action. It is an action in the human body that takes a conscious awareness that in a moment of disagreement, I choose something different. And that's what I think is really the final position here for Pisces, is Bridget asking you to look deeper into your own thought processes and try to allow yourself a little bit more of putting yourself, I don't want to say in the other person's shoes, but I feel like it's about everybody makes mistakes. Everybody screws up. Everybody gets scared. Some people tell lies when they get scared. Some people avoid. And now it's trying to take a deeper place of integrity to demonstrate the way you want to be treated versus the way maybe you have been treated. I don't know why I'm going there, but it's playing very much to the square between Uranus and Venus this week. And in the natural wheel, that's in our 2nd and 5th house. So our house of love and our house of self-worth. So that's where I'm going with that. And I'm going to go on to our Aquariuses. Okay. Somebody joined the room. Did Nikki join the room? Good morning, Enchanted Wolf. I love your name. That's a great name. There was a show on television. I'm just going to yap while I shuffle, and it was called Warriors and Wolves and Warriors. It was on Animal Planet for a while, and I loved that show. They always get me all worked up, though, because there's always a big trauma before the reconciliation. Okay. Good morning, Primus, Ishu, Bael. I don't know if I said that well. Love light. Oh, I said love to hi to you. Okay, Seagulls SG, good morning. Myra, good morning. I said hi. Nikki Camellia, good morning. Fox Lada 77. Love that. All right, here we go. We're on to our Aquarius's rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Daniel, the angel of marriage. The second angel is Crystal, the angel of hope and faith. Then we have Bethany, the angel of self-care. And then we have Caress, the angel of the ending of chapters. Welcome, Karen Grand. Thibaut, how's those eyeballs of yours? Looking good? You seeing everything really clearly? The world needs our prayers. Hi, Debbie. Good to see you. The world needs our prayers everywhere. There's no one place there. We're all being slammed. Okay, here we go. For our Aquarius, joining Daniel is the horse. Joining Crystal is the forgiveness card. Joining Bethany is the trust card. And joining Caressa is the movement card. Daniel is the angel of marriage. Oh, Thibaut, I'm going to laugh. I'm going to get me singing that song. Okay, welcome, Gigi. Daniel's the angel of marriage, guys. This is for Aquarius, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Hi, Milpo. Daniel, the angel of marriage, doesn't just talk about bringing you a partner for your life, but also to look at your history, to look at where you've been, how you've been experiencing and processing your love life. Now we have the horse. The horse is an intuitive card, but it's also, in some ways, it represents Jupiter to me. We talked about Jupiter going direct. What are your beliefs about marriage? What are your beliefs about partnership? Because marriages are not just the people you sleep with. They're also the people you work with. Because you spend 40 hours or more with a week. So I think for Aquarius, this is a time to really review and think about your ruling planet is squaring Venus, the planet of love, and maybe go in a different direction. And it doesn't necessarily mean moving your body in a different direction, but maybe looking how your own history is contributing to your perspective. And as a result of that, you have an opportunity to reconcile something, to forgive something in some ways. To me, forgiveness is hard because the people that I have loved most intimately tend to make the same mistakes over and over again. And I in my youth, my middle youth as well, I didn't really appreciate it because they didn't shift. And I'm a big shifter when I make a mistake. But the reconciliation is that there is more than you can see coming down the pike for you. And in some ways, this shift in your own perspective changes things in a way that ends a chapter for you without having to end everything in your life. Because Bethany is a card of self-care, of saying, it's time to take care of you. And while it's nice to get a massage and get a manicure, the best thing we can take care of is our emotional body because it rules us. I don't care what anybody says. Even the most unemotional person, the most logical person in the world is ruled by the emotion of their logic. And there's the trust card in direct relation to the opportunity to reconcile something because you can't see it. You can only feel it. And that feeling is coming from within you. What are you focusing in on? Because Caressa in the final position, Aquarius, offers the ending of a chapter. But I don't think it's an ending of it could potentially be the ending of a partnership, but I don't think so. I think it's the ending of a perspective that hasn't served you as fully as it could when you really look at the history you've brought into the situation. Because there's the movement card. And the Caressa talks about new happiness awaiting you. Years ago, I used to watch Super Soul Sunday a lot with Oprah, and she had a man on, I can't remember who it was, and he had cheated on his wife. And Subsequently, he becomes a spiritual teacher. That's why he's on Oprah. But it did not tank his marriage. Yes, it put it through a tremendous trial. But in many ways, these two humans, the husband and wife, were able to look at their own patterns in relationship, bring them into the light so that they could be responsible for their history coming in and giving them an opportunity to rewrite the story. Because I truly believe people don't cheat. There are those that just cheat for the thrill of it, but most people cheat because they don't feel seen, heard, appreciated, or loved within their relationship. And we don't allow ourselves to be flawed humans in relationships. We become blamers. So, no offense to Aquarius. I'm not going there with just Aquarius. I'm saying that in general. So your opportunity, I think, during this time when Mars is squaring Saturn, this is going to be going on till 2020. We know it. But also this week, particularly with Uranus, it could create sudden explosions directed towards your love life. Try to take a breath. Try to take a breath. My voice, I sometimes get myself start thinking about something, and I imagine the resistance on the other side. So when I'm coming in to express myself, I don't realize I'm bringing resistance into it, which puts somebody else on the defensive. Okay, let's go on to our Capricorn. So Capricorn, but you're waiting. Can't wait for all these planets to move out of your sign. Get out of my sign. Move on. Go with God. Live long and prosper. Go over to Aquarius. Here we go. Cap rising Brett. Okay, cool. Hi, Stelia. Loom. Rita, Ritu, Rana. I missed somebody else I wanted to say hi to, but I started the reading, and for those watching the playback, it's so irritating. Hey, Hello Kitty 88. I start with Pisces, and I work my way towards Aries. So we're just on our third sign right now, and that is Capricorn rising, then Capricorn moon, sun, and stelliums. So our first angel for our Capricorns, these cards just want to stick together today, is Fiona. The second is Azure. Whoops. The third is, come on out, sweet pea. They're just sticking together today. Oh, Crystal again. And the final is Bridget. Okay. Definitely, Stephen, take a vacation in your mind, if nothing else. Good morning, Tanya Thompson. Good to see you. Hope I said hi to Krista. Okay, here we go, Capricorn. Oh, boy. Yeah, you guys. You deserve a break today. Oh, McDonald's. Okay, Fiona is being joined by Merlin. Azure's being joined by the Queen. Crystal's being joined by the Horse, and Bridget is being joined by the Partnership card. Okay, so Capricorn, Fiona talks about, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving their guidance. And now we have Merlin. Merlin is the grand magician, balance, justice, and alchemy. But alchemy doesn't happen without pressure. It doesn't happen without something that is causing some kind of friction. So I feel like right now, when I look at this, the first thing I thought of was that this was your partnership with spirit, that your tendency to want to fall back into Saturnian ways of following the human rules, the human expectations, the stoic dynamic, the more challenging vibrations of Capricorn. And it's time to actually turn it over to spirit. On some level, if you applied the same, or if you are inspired to apply the same diligence with your connection to spirit, it would help you root it into this earth experience where you would be less likely to fall into those challenging dynamics of depression or feeling dry or feeling a heavy load. Because Azure is in the opportunity, the obstacle, saying, your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have patience and faith, and don't try to force it. And there's the Queen, because the Queen's about reception. if we were doing a personal reading with any one of you, I would probably see this more as a feminine energy. But when we're talking to thousands of people and hundreds of people in the chat, this is a receptive energy. And she's very relaxed. And in many ways, look at Fiona. It's the same thing. It's an open arm. This is a time, Capricorn, as Pluto, and you're about to have Jupiter go right over the top of you. Going to cross over both those two planets, which could exasperate some of the more challenging dynamics as that square happens between Mars and I think the square will be past Saturn a little bit, but it's still hanging around as it squares Pluto, right? So there's Jupiter going over all of that. So the more you're in your higher vibration of your connection to spirit, the easier that transition will be. Because have faith and hope there's more on the horizon that you can't see. And there's the horse. And I really want to take this into Jupiter today. I want to say this is a time to go in a different direction with your beliefs. And I say this because in the final position is Bridget, again, saying to look deeper into a situation and your partnership with God. Something I told you guys last week that I had some issues in my mouth, and it scared me, and I was in fear, and it really called into play my beliefs and what I literally say to you guys every week about trusting that there's a bigger hand on things, and those subtle urgings are spirit's inspirations into action. And if there's no subtle urging, then that's a pause. And a pause that allows spirit to take over and move things around, but also allows for you to build the trust bubble that you need, the faith and the hope that there is a bigger hand, a wiser hand on times that are so disruptive. Because that's what Merlin is. If you think about the coal, if you think about the caterpillar, if you think about the nymph, I believe it's a nymph that then transforms into the dragonfly, right? It's the diamond. It's the butterfly. It's the dragonfly. These are traumatic transformations in some way, and a time to give it over to God and the angels and to engage them. It isn't just about knowing that they're there. It's about thanking them for making that obvious to you, to making this apparent, this relationship more tangible to you in the 3D world. And then that language, that the same language you have with your dog or your bird or any animal, it doesn't use words. There's a way of getting to know spirit that will anchor this into a more solid way for you, which will then make things much more pleasant and palatable. And you'll start to work hard towards the things of your heart versus the things you feel obligated to, which is really a ticking time bomb. Okay, on to our Sagittariuses. Okay, here we go. I find myself when I think back and talking in 2019, and I so focused on the Pluto-Saturn conjunction and it coming, and I never looked at the other planets. I never looked at, how Mars was going to be whipping around the zodiac and how Jupiter would be taking a year into Capricorn and joining all of those planets. So as I say this, I feel a little sense of wanting to look into the planetary activity coming up in 2021. But I logically think that as these planets move into the age of Aquarius, the sign of Aquarius, we're moving towards the age of Aquarius. The disruption we have been experiencing in Capricorn is because of the old Stoic structures are to be rewritten so that our new structures afford us that creative expression that Uranus offers us. And when I say that, it's with inclusion rather than exclusion of others. So, all right, here we go. On to our Sagittarius. Welcome, Galactic Fed. My name is Teri Hunter, and I'm here every week on Sunday mornings here in Pacific time with messages from your angels. The angels work with astrology to give you advice for traversing these transits. So I'm actually a contributor on Lada's channel. Oh, YouTube astrology and tarot. Thank you for bringing that up. 6 planets in Aquarius. Revolution is afoot. Let's be prepared with our being energy. All right, Sag, here we go. Stellium, love light, energetics, awesome. You are a teacher by nature. Okay, Adriana is our first angel. The second is Chantal. Oh, these angel cards do not. Oh, the third is Layla. Here we go. And our final angel is Shanti, the angel of peace. Okay. I actually do love Capricorn. I feel like Capricorn has not been able to evolve in modern times. And that's why I think of myself as a growing intuitive astrologer, because Saturn has continually reminded me that if I'm willing to work hard at my dreams, Saturn will reward me. And it will take my willingness to rewrite the structures I've been given and to ask if they really support the truth of what I think this human experience is. And I don't think we were meant to come here and stack vegetables in the produce department at Vaughn's and then get a pension and die. I just don't believe that. Okay, so Sagittarius, joining Adriana is the movement card. Joining Chantal is the risk card. Joining Layla is the partnership card. And joining Shanti is the horse. Wow. Okay. So Adriana is the angel that says, I'm leading you to the answer to your prayers, to those subtle yearnings, the subtle nudges, the dreams that you have, literally the dreams at night. And here's movement. And I want to offer it this way, because this movement to me is, I'm going back to my beliefs, and I'm doing that because Shanti and the horse, because today the horse is ringing Jupiter to me. Jupiter went direct. The horse is, the centaur is a sign for Sagittarius. So I really think that spirit is leading you towards deeper truths, deeper epiphanies. There's a good word I want to use, epiphanies. And I go straight to your love life, because here's Chantal, the angel of peace. The angel of love and romance. And she talks about the resurgence of romance or new love coming in. And the risk card is here, because what I believe is happening, go back to Adriana for a minute, is that you're being led to a version of love that better suits where you want to be. When we get married and we're young, we just think about getting married and having babies and getting the house. Those 18 years that the children are in the house, they fly by. And then you're there with a person for the next 20 or 30 years. And the way that technology is, being married for a lifetime could go into the hundreds now. So I really think that this movement is about how you're processing your love and how you're processing your intimate relationships, because Layla is asking you to spend time meditating, to be in nature in regards to your partnerships. And I really feel like this partnerships has nothing to do with business. It has everything to do with love. And then we have Shanti, the angel of peace, in the final position. And there's the horse. And I want to say this again. As I look at this, I think that there is a story that we inadvertently tell ourselves about love. And I feel like this Uranus squaring Venus direct on the 15th could potentially bring up situations where there's going to be risking a bigger vulnerability in your love life. As I look at this Sagittarius, the movement, the subtle nudging of my heart, of my dreams. If you're in a relationship and you really want to go the distance, or you're ready to start, traversing life with that partner, and you've been afraid to express that, I think you need to really review why you're afraid to express that. And that's where Spirit is asking you to go into partnership, to contemplate your partnerships with them, because the risk may not be expressing it to the other person. The risk may be you already know the answer, and the answer may not be the one you like. Meaning, maybe this person is all right, but it's not great. Maybe it fits the bill for the average person, but is it truly going to bring you the peace you want? It's time to examine your beliefs and your beliefs about what you deserve in love, if love is attainable. And that's where you go back to spirit. There's so much media that will tell you that if you're too old, you can't find love. If you're too wrinkled, you can't find love. If you're too fat, you can't find love. If you're the wrong color, if you're the wrong gender. I mean, there's a million different stimuli to tell you what you're not. It's time to tell you what you are. So that's where I'm going, Sagittarius. Use the advantage of Jupiter as it traverses over Pluto to rebirth your beliefs about love. Okay. Oh, Ezra, you will be in another lockdown. I've been saying that for the longest time. There was another lockdown coming. So I can only imagine if it's happening in Israel that it will slowly creep its way around our whole human experience. Okay. I'm going to go on to our Scorpios now, guys. So much. It's really, guys, honestly, to fight is futile. To really, this connection to spirit, to seek refuge, I want to put it that way, within your connection, to see a higher wisdom. And I want to I keep seeing a movie in my head that I've mentioned before called The Shack. It came out a couple years ago. It's a book. Love it. It's by Paul William Young, I think. William Paul Young, something like that. I can never remember the titles of stuff or the authors. I just remember the depth of the movie. But the movie has a wisdom within it, and I don't want to ruin it for those of you that haven't seen it. But to me, that wisdom is very akin to what we're all experiencing in the world, and how there's a trickle-down effect of challenge, of darkness. You know, darkness is not always natural, or sometimes it's environmentally nurtured. So anyway, all right, on to our Scorpios. Yes, Ezra, patience is the key, but not necessarily with others, with yourself. You know, I mean, it's we want to be, you know, we want to stand in a certain light, and then every once in a while something silly will just catch us off guard, and we'll get done. And all right, Scorpio. When I say get done, I mean like sort of cooked. I've had enough. I can only go so far. And that's really when you don't pick up the phone if somebody on the other end irritates you. Excuse me. All right. Scorpio, our first angel is Celeste. Our second angel is Chantal. The third is Yvonne. Oop. And the final is Azure. Oh, what was that about Halloween? I missed it. Scrolled on by. Oh, I heard that Halloween trick-or-treating in Los Angeles will be banned. Yes, more than likely it will be. The holidays will be very challenging this year. That's why we have to get creative, you know, especially for those of you that have kids, you know. It's time to, you know, reach your inner child instead of being sad about some things. You could do a scavenger hunt for candy around your house. You know, there's lots of stuff you can do, guys. Let your creativity fly. Okay, I know I'm going to start to decorate for the fall soon. I'm just waiting a little bit longer. Hopefully the ash will diminish. Okay, Celeste is being joined by the Wind Fairy. Chantal for Scorpio is being joined by the Focus card. Yvonne is being joined by the Water Fairy. And Azure is being joined by the King. You know, it's interesting because I want to, in some ways, take this to my love life because of Chantal, but I don't actually think it is. I think it's about work. I think when I look at Celeste today, normally I think she's a shift in the way I'm thinking, because no matter where you put me, I think a certain way, and I'm going to take my actions based on that. But today, when I look at it, I really think it's about contemplating my work and my environment, and if it is serving me to my highest and greatest good. Because I feel like I'm supposed to look for work that I love, to start to focus in it, in on it versus work that would serve my wallet or serve my overhead or serve my obligations, because it's time to be vulnerable to a deeper picture of what you want. For me, Yvonne has always been a card of vulnerability, even though it talks about children and about animals and having a way with animals. My animals have always been my children, which is why I say it. And I'm always vulnerable to them. And I dream about them being just out of reach whenever I'm really stressed out. And that comes from my emotions of feeling vulnerable and by myself. But if you really focus in on what you love, then spirit can start to move the story forward. And I say this because in your intellectual body, you may not see how that can be fulfilled, but that's not really your job. Your job is to feel like, what does it feel like when I do something I love? Because in the final position, we have Azure Scorpio saying that your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have faith and trust and don't try to force it. And then there's the king. And this is not about a man. This is about justice. It's in some ways things pertaining to the law. So for some of you, I could say, oh, you're going to get a job as a lawyer, get a job as working in the legal system, getting a job as a cop. But in general, with this many people, it's just for you to get what it is that you want. And it's time for Scorpio, who's being transformed by Pluto. That's your ruling planet. And it's time to start to really dig deep as to think about what it is that brings your happiness, both with work and location. And I don't think it's a time of taking action. So let me just go back. For Scorpio, Mars is your ancient ruler. Mars is squaring Saturn. Mars is going to want to move forward like the buck, like the young knight. I want to move forward quickly. And Saturn is going to pull back like the old elder and say, wait till night. It's safer to attack then. So it's really kind of a time to assess and start to contemplate, and not how you're going to get there. This is where Saturn transformed. Saturn evolved, really sets a bigger pace, because your hard work is doing the dreaming part. Your hard work is sitting in the unknown and shifting your mind into how does it feel when I'm where I want to be. So in the past, I've used this idea of a dinner party, and I've told a lot of you about it, but I'm going to repeat it here. In a meditation, in the briefest moment, this came in a flash, and Spirit showed me a dinner party. And in that dinner party, I was with a partner. I had a tribe of friends. We were enjoying good food, good conversation, good company. There was a synergy to this. And I feel like when I go into the individual categories of my life and I talk to Spirit about reconciling them, I'm better served going to the dinner party, because the dinner party includes everything: abundance, love, acceptance, expression, creative dynamic. So find your dinner party and allow your mind to muse on it. Allow yourself to focus on love and what it feels like. And then allow yourself to be vulnerable to Spirit in some ways, and to tell them that you feel vulnerable, because the evidence of what you want will take, and I want to put it this way, it's almost like pushing a rock uphill. So right now you're going to start a new momentum, and you've got to allow yourself to build that momentum so that you can truly and justly receive what it is that Spirit is bringing, rather than getting too much in your head. Okay. All right, here we go on to our Libras. The minute I shut the window for the noise went away and it got warm. It's funny when it looks cold outside and it's hot. The sun is yellow. It's not yellow like the sun, it's orange. Okay, here we go, Libra. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Welcome, Deneen. I love my dinner party. It's one of the best things. I haven't done any sort of vision board. It's all in my mind's eye, but I can really grab onto that dinner party. And it feels so, it's nice to have the love of a partner, but it's also nice to have the love of a tribe, people that enjoy you and allow you to be whoever you are. In this, I can laugh loud. I can have my astrological, you guys pay attention to the stars, and nobody thinks I'm a nut. That's kind of how I look at it. Versus my life has always been sort of like okay, you go do that. All right, here we go. On to our Libras. What does Spirit have to say for us this week? I just heard them say, you've aged tremendously this week. Yes, I have. Okay. Yvonne, sweet dreams. May the angels fill your dream life with lots of love bubbles. All right, here we go. Our first angel is Isaiah. The second is Chantal. The third is Opal. And the final is Omega. Mercury is in Libra right now, guys. So, and it will be squaring Jupiter on the 17th. So there may be something about that where we as Libras have an opportunity to give birth to new ideas about our love life, because there's Chantal right there in the opportunity, the obstacle. So let's see. Okay. Joining Isaiah is the Goblin. Ooh. Joining Chantal is the Fire Fairy. Joining Opal is the Truth card. And joining Omega is the Focus card. Okay, so we talked earlier. I mentioned that Uranus is squaring Venus in Leo. Leo represents romance. And I feel like when I looked at Isaiah right now and I look at the Goblin represents the wounded ego. But I think that I want to take it this way for my Libras. Are you edging God out? It's time to give birth to new ideas and new situations. And I feel like Libra may be, I know for myself personally, I feel slightly uninformed because the world is burning down. Children are being treated in ways can't even begin to fathom in the news. The atrocities this week, a client of mine experienced a friend with a horrific accident, the loss of a toddler. And when all these things start to stack up so negatively, it becomes very hard for me to see the fairness, the harmony, the Libran qualities in the world. And that's where I think the ego is coming in this week. I don't think it's about Libra being egotistical as a human being or being uppity or passive aggressive right now. I think that it's time in some ways for Leo to give birth to new ideas that, even though it may not seem fair right now, there is a justice, and the parties involved are not humans. They are souls. They are souls that have chosen to bring in justice. And sometimes in order for justice to come in, the exposure of injustice must come to light first. And that's how we give birth to new ideas. Because when I look at Chantal, I don't think it's about romance this time. I think it's about love in general. The resurgence of kumbaya, the resurgence of love thy brother. And I feel like Spirit is saying to have creative action and optimism about that, because here we have the children that we're talking about are safe on heaven and earth. And the truth is that we are all children in some ways. We're all children of God. And there is oftentimes the children of God are really evolved souls that we don't understand because we see them as little bodies and little innocent faces. Because Libra, you're being offered victory within your focus. And the focus is that there's a bigger picture. So let me just paint this very sad story for you right now. When Sandy Hook. When Sandy Hook took place, I was horrified by what happened. And I cried. And I said to God, why? And all of a sudden I saw this image. And every one of those little children, as they ascended to heaven, became these huge beings of light with these wings. They were masters. They were not children. They were master angels that agreed to be here for this short period of time to bring balance to things and antiquated dynamics Personally, when our forefathers said we had the right to bear arms, they could not imagine the kind of arms we would create 200 years later. Some of these things need to be reevaluated. So this is where I want Libra to try to strive for, is to see throughout this injustice, there is a justice. And that the souls sometimes that experience, and I could cry just thinking about it, these atrocities, and even the souls that are being, challenged through the other dynamics, not just the children, but people experiencing the fires. Somehow as they rise through like the phoenix through this, that's where we'll be. This is how we'll change the world in some ways, you guys. So I'm not trying to be callous to the experience as much as I'm trying to find a wisdom within it so that I don't become so weighed down by the injustice that I can't be of light anymore. So that's where I'm going with this. This is a hard time, guys. Not going to lie. Not going to pretend it's all rosy. Our consciousness is being called into action. It's being asked to be activated. And pain is a game changer. It really is. Physical, emotional, spiritual pain. Welcome, Astral Thief. Nice to see a first timer here. All right, let's go on to our Virgos. This is your moon. Thank you, Sammy's mom, Sammy. There's so much heartache going on in the world. It's really, truly like, you can't really get away from it. It's in every genre. All right. Virgo, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. I even feel like my face looks worn down from the emotional drainage of the world at large. Okay, and then now we have a presidential election we're walking into too. Oh boy, this is going to be fun for the world to watch. I'm telling you. It's like fasten your seatbelts, people. Get your popcorn. All right, Virgo, our first angel is Archangel Michael. The second is Teresa. The third is Chantal. And the final is Vanessa. I just keep hearing songs about love in my head. I don't think Chantal is really representing intimate love right now. I think she's representing a much broader picture. Okay, Virgo, let's get the gas on. All right, joining Archangel Michael is the hawk. Joining Teresa is the bird. Joining Chantal is the focus card. And joining Vanessa is the birth and the rebirth card. So for me, the hawk, while it represents signs and omens, it also represents rising above a situation for me. And Archangel Michael is asking me to have the courage to make divine life changes. And I want to put it this way. Those divine life changes, most oftentimes the human will think about taking some sort of action. And action without emotional calibration can be a little sketchy. And when I say emotional calibration, I mean it in a way that really looking at our motivations when we take an action. Because oftentimes, whether we realize it or not, the first initial, contemplation may be fear-based. So I think that Archangel Michael is asking me to be courageous and looking above a situation, looking, Virgo is practical, Virgo is dependable, but Virgo also represents our health, and it represents slavery. It represents the things that we're slave to, and most of us think our work, but I want to think about those things now and have the courage to look above the situation and then start to think to myself, have I just been too busy worried about everybody else? Is that my story? Have I always made my decisions as a Virgo based, again, on the whole rather than the individual? Have I been doing things? I want to go back to Archangel Michael and say, do I have the courage to look above the situation and to see where it's, we're taught to take care of others. We're taught to not be selfish. We're taught to be considerate. And believe me, I like all those things. But that consideration would come more easily if we were I want to put it this way, focused in on love versus the obligation. Don't throw your trash because it's nasty. No, I want to pick up my trash and throw it away because it's the fun thing to do for the earth. And I enjoyed this place where I've been, and I don't want to leave it worse than I started. I feel like for Virgo, in your own personal life, it's like finding that spot in your life where you have been doing things not necessarily because they were for what you wanted, but because of a history of what you've been taught to do. Because in the final position is the birth and the rebirth card. It's like there's a new opportunity being offered to you, and it's time to have faith that that opportunity will come to play. And your job, Mr. Practicality, Mrs. Practicality, Miss Practicality, is to actually think that the practicality is in me thinking that this opportunity would not have been presented to me if I couldn't take it, if it wasn't a good opportunity. I feel like this is again, I feel like the 2020 is like rings on a tree. The inner rings are our personal lives and the transformations happening there. And then the outer rings become our communities and our states and our countries, etc. And then the world at large. And I think that it's time to start to give life to this idea that there is a bigger wisdom to our wants and desires than we realize. We don't want them just to want them. We want them because our soul has a yearning for them. And the revolution that is happening right now is the call of the soul begging the human to stop restricting its expression and stop judging everybody. But that's a whole other topic. All right. So that's it for Virgo. Let's go on to our Leos. And a new moon, Virgo. What a good time to really think about those things. New beginnings, influential over the next few weeks. Okay. All right. On to our Leos. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. It's not about giving up your arms. It's about using your arms in a way that is thoughtful. It's thought-provoking. It's strategic. It's the way of the peaceful warrior. I'm not advocating putting myself in a vulnerable place. When I was a little kid, Russia and the United States were the two biggies, and Russia obviously was the bad guys because we were the Americans. But I remember talking to my grandfather about it and saying that it's important to be strong. It's important to have, to have a presence, but also to know how to use that presence versus just going in. And this is a time where people are just going in. They're reacting. So we want to stay as conscious as possible so that we can take guided action. All right, here we go. Bye, Thibaut. Have a good evening. Get lots of rest. All right, here we go. For our Leos, our first angel is Francesca. The second is Ariel. The third is Sonia. And the final is Akasha. Stephen, there's always, from the beginning of elections, was mudslinging. That's just how they roll. Okay. Francesca is joined by the fire fairy. Ariel is being joined by the owl. Sonia is being joined by the focus card. And Akasha is being joined by the stag. Okay, my Leos, here we go. So you have Venus, the planet of not just money and love, but of creation, of beauty, of art, of literature. Well, I shouldn't say literature because that's also Mercury, but creative writing, I guess I could put it that way, because I've been saying for the last few weeks to Leo that your creative action rules the zodiac. The sun rules the zodiac. It gets near another planet and it outshines it. It eclipses it in some ways. And so taking that, I think about this. Well, if Leo represents the fifth house of romance, creative expression, children, and let's just take that a little further. Children are innocent. They believe that they can magic. They believe they can be superheroes. This is the time where I believe that Leo is meant to truly shine, and that's where the focus should be going. Because here, the fire fairy represents creative action. And here's Francesca saying, now, what do you desire right now? Visualize that, because negativity will block your progress. And I want to put it this way, because oftentimes, Leo gets kind of a bad rap for coming in the room and being too charming and being the center of attention. But I believe that this is a time when we should truly go to the higher vibrations of Leo, because you have something to teach us. That's what Akasha is about. This is the final position. And here's the leadership position. And you have something to teach us about our self-expression. Because I want to offer it this way. In the opportunity or the obstacle is the owl. The owl represents deception and wisdom. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it somebody else's way. I'm going to follow the old rules, or I'm going to allow for new rules. And here's the spiritual experiences are changing the way you view yourself and others. I feel like the truth of the matter is this. If we really paid attention to Leo being the sun, and if we paid attention to what it represents, we would know that that is what we should be focusing in on as humans, our creative expression. Then we would take Saturn, and we would take the diligence that Saturn offers us and the stoic willingness to continue to move forward in our creative expression, and it would change the whole world. Everybody would be a wee bit happier going wherever they're going and doing whatever they're doing. Because in the angels' advice, the angels are asking Leo to stay focused. Stay focused on your connection to spirit, because they will continue to support you as a teacher for the rest of us. That our self-expression is the truest, most authentic thing that I'm getting chills everywhere. Authentic thing we can do. And that's why the human keeps coming here. The soul keeps taking on this dense form so that it can truly use a paintbrush, to feel somebody else's body up against them, to feel the taste of food. All of these things are so integral and so important. And Leo, that's what you represent. So this week, as Mars is squaring Saturn and there's wanting to take action in some ways and feeling thwarted, use this time to really reflect on, where is the fat in my life? Where is the illusion of restriction in my life? Where am I looking at something and thinking, I have to do that, instead of I want to do that? And many of you who have children, in some respects, it wouldn't be a bad idea to take a day and be a child like yourself. Let yourself play and dress up and be silly, and remind yourself what it feels like to truly own that sunny energy. And in many ways, you, Leo, I think, are going to be what brings us out of this. I don't want to make one sign the most important, but the Leo-like qualities that each one of us can grab onto and anchor into and continue to be of love and light during this time is what's going to save us from the darkness. So have fun, laugh, go on a media diet, be informed, but don't be absorbed. Okay, let's go on to our Cancers, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Love Breeze Healing Breeze says, do you think Saturn could somehow impose restrictions also to the creative enthusiasm? Absolutely, 100%, because the lower dynamics of Saturn are going to tell you not to do what you love, but to do what you're supposed to do what is expected of you, to do what is best for, go do your dishes. You may live alone and you think, I don't have to do my dishes, but that Saturn energy will say, go do your dishes before you do something fun. Eat your dinner before you have your dessert. And I feel like every once in a while, it's a good idea to let the sun have you have your dessert first and eat your dinner later. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Thank you, Les. I quite enjoy. I used to hate the color orange because I had some issues with my bio mom, and she was orange obsessed, and it took me a long time. I realized when I started liking orange again that I'd actually gotten over my issues with my mother in my childhood. Okay. Well, not all my issues, just the motherly issues. All right, let's go on to our Cancers. I'm really going to try to keep this to an hour and a half. Love breeds financial. Love breeds. I want to offer this with the financial dynamic, because what happens is that in focusing in on okay, I've got this challenge with money, I've got this challenge, and I've got this amount of money that I know that I have. And somehow you're calibrating everything from what you think you have. That's when you shift it and you say to Spirit, okay, this is the amount of money I need. Thank you for providing that in any way you see fit. And you cannot, I've literally had a friend once find a bag of $500 of money left in an abandoned house. I was walking down the street, found $60 on the street. I have a client who won 200 grand in the second chance lottery. So the ticket looked dead for months and months, and yet she went through the process of submitting it and then won money. So love breeze, start to focus in on what it feels like once that restriction is settled. Once that, because we could think of this way, Venus rules our money and Uranus rules unexpected things. And even though there's a square, it could create tension before illumination. That's where I'm going. All right, on to our Cancers. Whoops. Welcome, the Venezi. That's a new name for me. Did I say hi to you, Nikki Ryan? I hope I did. Okay. Cancer, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. We have the angel Crystal in the foundational position. We have Bridget in the opportunity of the obstacle. We have Adriana in the angel's advice, and we have Astera in the final position. Okay, joining Crystal is the stag. Joining Bridget is the wind fairy. Joining Adriana is the timing card of the raven. And joining Astera is the disruption card. Okay, I want to put it this way. When I'm looking at my Cancers, I want to offer you this. God bless you. I think you're making a case for for things that aren't working for you. And I'm going to say it this way, because Crystal is here asking you to have faith and hope that there's more on the horizon. And then we have the stag, which represents pride and leadership. And I don't think that this is necessarily about leadership, but maybe, and I say it only because Astera and the disruption card are in the final position. And the disruption card makes me feel like there's a part of you that's saying, look at what's happening. Look at how terrible the president is. Look at how terrible the world is. It's right here, people. It's right here. And this is exactly what the Spirit would like you to shift. I feel like Spirit is asking you to look deeper into your thought process, because this is a timing issue. There's magic to be had. Adriana is leading you to the answers to your prayers. But in some ways, your focus is creating a disruption to what Spirit can bring you. This says, you deserve the best. Reach for the stars with your dreams and desires and don't compromise. But instead, I think you've been fighting. Your faith feels like it's shaking. And I feel like in some respects, your shaking faith is for you're forgetting to say, give me experiences that prove my faith is valid. And I also feel something in Cancer's heart. There's a love bubble that feels like it's been taking a punch, and that love bubble feels a little bit like it's not just relationship wise, but your own personal goals, your own personal desires and expressions. And I want to put it this way, because it is truly a time. There's like, through this darkness, there will be the birth of things that have untold benefit, and we just can't see them right now. So for my Cancers, being ruled by the moon, being ruled by your emotions, now it's time to shift that into your intuition, because the Cancer energy is very intuitive. But if it's stuck in the human experience, it tends to intuit from a place of alert, from a place of worry. If you think about the moon represents the mother. The mother represents the fourth house that rules the family. So what does the mother naturally do? She cares for her chicks. So worry is a natural point of that. But out of balance, it becomes a focus that creates an experience. So Spirit is asking you to re-anchor your faith and go from pride to leadership in some ways. And then to really look deeper and not criticize your thought process, because this is a time when this thought process is meant to be exposed. It's what this whole transit has been about. What are the thoughts and the dynamics we're taking on that don't really serve us? And Adriana says it's a timing issue. In many ways, the magic comes as you trust the timing issue and that Spirit is leading you to a greater experience here on this planet. And part of your job is to disrupt that pride of look at what's happening in the physical world and digging deeper into your dynamic and your connection with Spirit and saying, I'm done. I'm done with the illusion. Now I'm ready for the conclusion of that. When sometimes in frustration, I go to Spirit and I've been angry and I've been like, you know what? And sometimes I'm not so pleasant in my verbiage, but it's also, I almost feel them applauding me. Finally, she's mad enough to make a declaration. And with that, the seas part and opportunity walks in. That's where I'm going with that for Cancer. Let's go on to our Geminis. I could use some lipstick, I gotta say. I go backwards, everybody, just in case you didn't know. I start at Aries and I work my way towards, I start at Pisces and work my way towards Aries. I was reading question from Vanese. My Venus is in Libra in the 12th house. How can I work with that energy during this new moon? Well, the new moon is actually in Virgo, so I think that's going to be in your 11th house. But as a Venus Libra in the 12th house, to me, there's the challenging side of your femininity, your money, your creativity could be slightly hidden. But with the idea of Libra being there, it's about balance in some ways in what Venus represents and your exposure to the outside world versus your exposure to yourself. I really try to look at the 12th house. It represents prisons, it represents hospitals, it represents isolation. But sometimes artistry is an isolating endeavor. An artist, they can go paint on with other painters, but they're doing an individual job. So I think that too, I don't know the other aspects of your chart. So just taking that little tidbit, I'd say there's something about allowing your Venus energy to find harmony within its within your own reflective process, within your own sense of self. Welcome. I wanted to say hi. Somebody said, oh, Sehan, welcome. So good to see you today. Rasmus, welcome. Okay. Yes, it's also your blind spot. Absolutely. Okay. Here we go. On to our Geminis. Oops. Everything is in theory until we practice it. And once we practice it, we anchor it into the physical experience. So here we go. For our Geminis, Astera is the first angel. The second is Crystal. The third is Rochelle. And the final is Isaiah. Welcome, Alex Silva, 1983. All right, Gemini, joining Astera is the Focus card. Well, isn't that interesting? Joining Crystal is the Baird. Joining Rochelle is the Risk card. And joining Isaiah is the burden card. Because I say that because I feel like the focus card and the star are coming out a lot together. So for Gemini, you're ruled by Mercury. Mercury is in Libra, squaring Jupiter right now, which just went direct. So I want to offer it this way. Your focus this week on staying on the side of your thought process that serves your vision of yourself. I really feel like that, reaching for the stars. I have a lot of things I want to birth onto this physical plane. And I pretty much since March have been feeling like any real effort is like trying to push up against an immobile object. The universe, the world is transforming right now. And in order for me to truly birth my ideas with any kind of influence or validity, it's also being strategic enough to know when is a good time and when isn't. Because that's what I think Esther is talking about. It's like, yes, your ideas will take place, but is it really a good time? Like if you want to be in a relationship, if you want to fall in love, is it a good time to meet people? Is it really a fruitful time? And if it is not, then you can give yourself a get out of jail free card. It may not be now, but it will happen at another time. Because I feel like there's a part of your history, Gemini, that you're having trouble finding the faith that you need. And the angels are saying it's time to risk going into your heart. I really believe that the yearnings of the heart are the soul trying to keep us in alignment with what our truth is when we came into this planet. Because right now it's hard for you guys to birth new ideas. It's a burden for you to be able to focus in on your dreams and truly feel like there is a viability to them happening. So I want to offer it this way. We were talking earlier about how Mars is going to be squaring Saturn until October 9th. That's going to be, I want to take action. No, I want to stay back. I want to pull back and wait. So I want to offer it this way. In your wanting to take action, using your Mercury-ruled planet in relation to Jupiter. The square is a tense aspect. Maybe it's a good time for you to review where your beliefs are getting in your way. Does it matter if you're 35 years old if you find love? Or 45 years old, or 55 years old, or does it matter if you find love? And do you want to find love, or do you want to invite love in? It's time to kind of dig deeper. One of the things as I was looking at the transits this week and I was reading different things, it's really, I feel like this Mars-Saturn thing is really asking us to see where are those expired thoughts? Where are those expired beliefs that I'm still walking on that don't have anything to do with my experience right now? Because that's what's getting in your way, Gemini. Your history. Every guy you ever dated, blah, blah, all my friends are married, whatever that story is. It's time to risk a bigger deal, to tell a bigger story. Because your heart wants a deeper connection. And while it's hard to find and shore up the faith of this new beginning, it's also time to call upon Isaiah to help you do that, to call upon your actual angels. And I want to offer this because humans named these angels on these cards. To me, when I talk to the angels, I don't talk to them by name. I talk to them by vibration. The angel of compassion, the angel of mercy, the angel of harmony, the angel of peace. This is where I want to go. So don't worry about knowing whether it's Astera or Daniel or Archangel Michael. Call upon the vibration. And Gemini, that will help you start to use the mercurial dynamics that as Virgo is ruled by Mercury as well, it'll become a more practical dynamic. Okay, on to our Tauruses. My brain, I'll tell you. And I've been doing this detox as well, so I'm feeling a little run down by that. It's fun, though. Medical medium stuff, you guys. I'm a big fan. Okay, Taurus in the house. Brett, awesome. Here we go. My Taurus moon, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. My Chiron's in the 11th house as well, but it's Aquarius. Okay. What is up for Taurus? I have a Uranus hovering around the 10th degree, and my moon is at the 9th degree. And the first time it went by, I was like, oh, that was pretty easy. I'm hoping that the second time it goes by, it's still easy. Because, Uranus does some unexpected things. All right, here we go. Taurus, our first angel is Vanessa. The second is Athena. The third is Serena. And the final is Ariel. I've heard some people talk about the second house being the house of security, right? Or you're taught that in astrology. And then there's people who have said, well, when you dig deeper to that idea of Taurus being the house of security, it's actually the house of insecurity, because we want to have our money and everything. And it made perfect sense to me. And so for some reason, I'm coming to money right now. Welcome, Jenny B and Jamie Roy. All right, so Vanessa, the angel of faith, is being joined by the forgiveness card. Athena is being joined by the perception card. Serena is being joined by the horse. And Ariel is being joined by the lady of the lake. When I talk about having faith over fear, and it occurred to me when I looked here for Taurus, this forgiveness card, faith over fear is almost like too intangible in some ways, because when you're gripped in fear, when you have money issues and the bill collectors are calling you and, you're looking at the stack and you're looking at your bank account, it's not easy to just move into faith. It really isn't. But what I think now, when I look at this, is that Spirit is about to give us all, us Taurus, moon, rising, sun, and stelliums, an opportunity to have a reconciliation of our faith. And part of it is because of our own perception. The perception card in Athena saying it's time to lovingly assert yourself. I'm a big fan of the laws of attraction, of the law of allowing, of Abraham Hicks. And when I have money issues, I do two things. I put myself in neutral, which is to work on some sort of art project or something, clean house, that puts my mind in a place where I'm not in a worry energy, because the worry is the focus on the problem. Now, from there, I just lost my train of thought because a kid just screamed, but I want to put it this way. What I'm trying to say is that from there, I then lovingly assert myself to say to Spirit, help me shift my perception. Help me to know that and then I go to my dinner party. I go into a meditation and I go into my dinner party, and in the angel's advice, Serena's in charge of your abundance. And then this is the horse, my beliefs again. I keep going back to the horse representing Sagittarius in my beliefs this week. And are my perceptions serving me? Because every once in a while, I think, am I going to push a shopping cart? Am I going to be an old lady that, doesn't live her dinner party, and that perception does not help me? And what I do, to be honest with you, and that's where I love my Aries rising, as my finger goes up in the air, because I do have courage to weather the storm. And it is through my connection to Spirit. It is through my willingness to say, I'm scared. I need you I want you. I can't use the right verbiage right now, angels. It's a need. It's a want. I'm begging. And I know that when I say this, that's not quite the right vibration, but thank you for superseding my vibration right now to give me an experience to help me align my vibration. So that's where I'm going with this. I feel like for Taurus, this is about your material security. I feel like the square between Uranus and Venus, even though it's in the fifth house, it may trigger Taurus in a way that says, can my own creativity sustain me? Am I worthy to have this? And that's kind of where I'm going with this. And I believe that we are. And that's where the connection to Spirit is like so important. If we never had a dip, if we never had a challenge, if we never had a moment of being unsure, unsettled, scared, we would never know the triumph, the achievement, the power of conquering it. So this is where the surrendering of it, the authenticity to be real. I'm in my human body here. And while I know I'm a soul inhabiting a human experience, the truth is I'm inhabiting the human experience, and the whole soul thing is just a theory right now. So please help me anchor my theory into my physical experience. And in doing so, it will start to shift things and liberate and free you from the things that have been pulling you down, from anchoring you, the fears that have been anchoring you. Whoa. So that's where I'm going with that for my Tauruses. And on to our final sign, Aries. Sometimes, Aida, it takes a minute to figure out what we want, because we base what we want on what we think we can get. And if we really, really give ourselves an opportunity, I don't know why you're writing the question over and over again. Thank you. I did notice it. But I think that's part of what the Mars Saturn square offers us, is to really think about what we want and how we've been inadvertently tripping ourselves up because we're only thinking about it from how we can get there. Welcome, Sabrina Ray. All right, here we go into our final sign, which is, wait, somebody asked a question up here. What is this? Hold on. Oil painter, my moon conjunct Chiron in the second house. Finance is an issue all my life, and trying to let go, let Saturn rule me hard, because Saturn is my 11th. Okay, so oil painter, I just want to offer it this. When you look at Chiron, I think Chiron in many ways is the wound that we chose to work on in this lifetime. I have Chiron in the 11th house of networks and friends, and I've been challenged with friends my whole life because of my intuition. And, it's a good news when they like it, and when I don't have good news for them, they don't like it. And friends tend to come and go for me. So what I have done is I've been willing to look at, okay, what is the story I keep telling myself? Friends come and go. I've bought into the experience that Chiron has given me. Now my opportunity is to shift that experience. And even though I have no physical experience, that's where I thank God and the angels, hence my dinner party, and why I don't just include a love interest, but a community as well. And in that, I have to honor you guys, because you're part of my community. And every week I feel so loved by our tribe. It's not mine. It's not even Lada's. It's ours. We're co-creating this. You're co-creating by being here. So we really get to look at ourselves from a much broader perspective, and to call upon our higher selves to anchor us into this physical experience by giving us, the angels don't want us to focus on our fear, but they definitely want to help us with it, because that's where the empowerment lies. All right, Aries, thank you, CC Pups. You're always so sweet. Every week, you're so sweet to give me that tip. That just feels so much love, I tell you. It means 3 times, a million times more. Okay, here we go. Aries, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Okay, so while Capricorn has, been hitting things, Aries, this is going to learn a lot about their anger right now. They're going to learn a lot about their resentment. They're going to learn a lot about what they've held on to and the challenging aspects. And I myself have really been working through a lot of my own story. And where have I been holding on to things that are the story I keep chiming. My dad used to say, I love you, gotta go. I love you, gotta go. And all I really got was he's gotta go. So it's been a kind of a running theme, and I can't shift that awareness. It's almost like it's been branded on my heart. But what I can do is ask Spirit and thank Spirit for giving me experiences, as I have every Sunday, that starts to shift that so that I can start to tell a new story. All right, Aries, here we go. Our first angel is Astera. The second is Archangel Gabriel. The third is Athena. And the final is Bridget. Well, isn't that interesting? Because Archangel Gabriel represents communication. And what was I just talking about? How I talk to myself. So here we go. Bye, Astral Thief. I hope you'll join us again. Thank you for the $10, Rasmus. It's not really $10, but I appreciate the thought. Okay, here we go. All right, joining Astera is the Fear card. Joining Archangel Gabriel is the Birth and the Rebirth card. Joining Athena is the Love card. And joining Bridget is Merlin. So Astera says to reach for the stars with your dreams and your desires and not to compromise. And here's the Fear card. I don't think this is about reaching. I think this is about Aries asking Spirit to show me where false evidence appears real. Thank you, Michelle. Love you. This is really about what I was talking about before I even started. Help me as a Mars-ruled person to use this square with Saturn to cut the fat. Oh, thank you, Love Light Energetics. You're so awesome. Everybody, love you so much. Honestly, I do. I want us all to meet sometime and be together and break bread and chat in person. But anyway, sorry, Aries, those of you who are watching the video. Okay, fear, false evidence appearing real. I really feel like this is looking at the more challenging dynamics of Aries, the ones that are, that you're aggressive and you're angry and you're resentful. And I want to offer it this way because I don't think that resentment and that anger comes because you're just a hothead. I think that there's experiences that have happened that have fueled that. And because of that, now is a time to really use this square to break up the old energy, which is what the Rebirth card is, the opportunity and or the obstacle. And Archangel Gabriel, how am I communicating? How am I communicating? And not just with other people, but with myself. Am I being, this is the thing I think about Aries. And when you're really run by Mars, you can shoot your mouth off before you realize what you said. And being totally having done that many, many times. And I feel like that's kind of what this is all about. Oh my goodness. Rasmus, thank you so much. You're amazing. I don't know what DKK is, but wow, thank you. I just appreciate the love. So Athena is saying to lovingly assert yourself. And I want to say it this way, because now you can say the exact same thing you wanted to say before, but with a conscious awareness and holding the sort of truth that Aries represents, you can shift those experiences to being the warrior, the peaceful warrior, versus just people seeing that lower dynamic of it. Because Bridget is saying to look deeper into situation. Here's Merlin, balance through pressure. Here's justice. Here is alchemy. And it comes when we realize that fear is false evidence appearing real. This is how I want to say the fear. I'm not a nice person. I'm an angry person. I'm a resentful person. You're too hostile. My sister used to say that to me all the time. You're too hostile. I'd be like, you know what? You're a liar. So that's probably too much information about me and my sister. Anyway, personally, it just was challenging because I would get triggered. And I would act out exactly as she said I would. And it didn't bode well for my reputation within the family. But as I became more aware of my communication, not just with her, but with myself, do I need to defend myself to someone who has no ears to hear me? And it gave me a rebirth. And it gave me an opportunity to feel the love of my own self-assertion, to appreciate myself. And that's how, when I looked deeper, I found balance. And I could stop taking off that harsh judgment that I had for myself. So that's where I'm going with this for Aries. I feel like this is an opportunity over not just this new moon, but over this period of time as Mars, there's a weird cooperation with you guys, meaning Mars and Saturn, because Mars loves being in Capricorn. So I can't help but acknowledge that. So while Mars loves being in Capricorn, it's exalted in Capricorn, it's frustrated by Saturn. So what do we have to learn about strategic action and thought? So that's it. I want to thank you guys all for showing up. And I want to thank all of you for your generosity of your energy in the room, for the love I feel every week. It's just Great. Oh, yes. Next month is my birthday month. I can't believe that first year in my 60s has gone by so fast. Oh, my goodness. I can't even tell you. But I just love you all so much and want to thank you. And I want to thank Nikki for bringing her food into the chat and taking care of everybody and feeding everybody. We love you. Love you back. And I'll be here next week doing the same bat time, same bat channel. Everybody have a wonderful week. Sending lots of love to you. Peace out.